What's up, magical people? Welcome back to Your Most Magical Life. I'm Mia Magik. It has been quite a while coming to you from the new palace, and I am super excited to share this little story because I put a tidbit on Instagram about my journey with celibacy and manifesting love and partnership, and I got a lot of questions and messages and comments, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to really discuss more about that, why I made that choice, how it was right for me, and what it allowed me to learn about myself and heal within myself in order to then attract and manifest a really aligned divine partnership. So if you are interested in calling in love, if you're watching this because you are working on manifesting a magical partner for yourself, I have a new love spell that is very exciting and very powerful, potent, simple rituals that you can do. We are doing a 21-day challenge. I highly recommend doing this ritual every day for 21 days. It's really empowering, really powerful, and makes you truly magnetic to more love in every area of your life. So you can click the link below if that's something you're interested in. Now, I know some people are like, celibacy to manifest partnership? What? What are you talking about? Why would you ever do that? Isn't that counterintuitive? And for me, it was exactly the opposite. I won't bore you with the whole crazy saga that led me to make that choice. You definitely wouldn't be bored. It was horrifying. But I went through a phase in my life where I just felt like I had been making pretty poor choices. I had a partner that just totally turned out to be someone completely different than I'd thought. And then I got involved in another situation that was just not a good idea. And I don't know what part of me was like, oh yeah, like maybe this will be the solution to my problems. Crazy what we do in our 20s. I don't know. Hallelujah. God has blessed her. But I reached a point where I was like, you know what? I want to just take a break. I want to take a break from dating, from men, from having anyone else in my energetic field, sphere, body. I'm just not gonna have anyone changing my energy or altering the way that I feel about myself or in general, right? Like, you know, when we're dating someone and they don't text you back, or they do text you back, but they say the wrong thing or whatever, you can get really caught up in another person's responses, reactions, habits, behaviors, words, communication, impacting the way that you feel about yourself or about life in general. And I just was fucking over that. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't need to do this right now. So I went into a phase that I thought would be like 3 months, maybe 6 months. Then it turned into a year, and then it was 2 years, and then it was over 2 years. And I had all of the things that people say to you, all the things. Oh my God, just give him a chance, to like someone that I wasn't interested in. Hard no. Oh, just try the dating apps. No, I want to feel someone in person. I want to feel their energy. I want to feel their vibration. I want to feel what their essence is. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say about that. They were actually kind of mean and disempowering after a certain point. And they were like, oh, you need to just, stop being so picky, or you're being too resistant, or you're this or you're that, whatever. They had all kinds of shit to say about what I was doing or who I was being and why I shouldn't be taking this time for myself. But guess what I did in that period? In those 3 years, I went to multiple retreats, did multiple healing certifications with many of the different modalities that I use in my work now. I learned about my own business. I started to make money. I was really totally broke at the beginning of that period. And then I built a very successful multi-six-figure business by the time I met my partner. I studied Tantra deeply. I learned about my sexuality, my sensuality, my pleasure, the energy in my body. Tantra is a really powerful support to witchcraft. It's honestly the backbone of my witchcraft, if I'm being really honest. And my partner actually is the one who reminded me of that. And it is, in its essence, an elemental alchemy. People think that Tantra is all about just sex. We could make a whole nother video about that, but it's really not. It's about the energy and the alchemy of how you use your energy, how you respond to your energy. Is pain coming in? Can I be present? Can I be patient? Can I find pleasure on the other side? Is sadness? Is joy? You're really just working with the elements of your body, right? The earth element, your breath, the air element, your emotions, the water element, and also, of course, your sweet waters and sacred juices. and then the transformative power of fire and energy. So it's truly an alchemical, elemental practice. And I dove super deep and I became an embodied tantrika. I already really was in just the essence and the way that I live my life, but I didn't know that much about it. And so I studied deeply and I became an empowered teacher, really. Like, that's why all of you are here and listening to me, is because of those 3 years. That is when I became myself. That's when I strengthened my resolve. That's when I really stepped into integrating the things that I'd learned, taking with me the spiritual lessons and teachings that I'd received within myself and in my trainings, and I turned them into the life that I'm leading. And I made a magical life for myself. And I said yes only to things that were a full fuck yes for me. I said no to everything that didn't feel right. And that included men who were not fully aligned for me. And I did not feel bad about that at all, 0%. So the time frame did last quite a bit longer than I was anticipating. I did not think that I would not have sex for 3 years. And like, not just sex, but like no kissing, no dating, no nothing, no nobody in that period. And it was really hard. There were a lot of moments of loneliness. There were a lot of moments where I felt sad and I felt isolated and I felt confused and I felt really afraid that I would never meet someone, like it had taken so long. So what if it never happens? And that's the point of why I shared the Tantra with you at the beginning, is because Tantra is what an energy and alchemy and the elements are what got me through all of those sad and hard moments. They are what allowed me to say, you know what, like, it's okay. I can use this. I can use this sadness. I can use this loneliness. I can use this pain, this frustration, this confusion. I can use this to grow. I can use this to help make me better. I can learn about myself through this confusion. I can learn where my patterns and my programs and my shit from my family really play into my relational patterns, because these are all the stories that I'm telling myself for not having a relationship. This is all the unworthiness that I feel because I don't have a partner who loves me, or because I'm just sitting here like, you know, this sexy young woman not getting fucked, right? I mean, it's like just outrageous, like these ridiculous things. I've never really been one of those people that just wants to have sex. I've never had a one-night stand. I've never had like casual sex. We'll get to that with Bear. I thought that Bear was gonna be a one-night stand, and here we are living in a palace together 4 years later. So that's how my only one-night stand ever went. But I really wanted to have that hardship, that challenge that I was experiencing. I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to wield it to understand myself better. And I did. And so in those 3 years, again, I grew so much. I grew a business. I grew in my self-love, in my joy, in my pleasure, in my orgasmic capacity. I grew in every way that a person can grow. And I felt really good. By the time that I met my partner, which was literally like exactly 3 years after I mean, it was like October to November kind of vibe, very, very close. And I really loved who I was. And that's not to say that I didn't have some places where I didn't still feel worthy, or I didn't still feel amazing or good enough, or, you know, like I definitely had issues with self-loathing. That's a big part of the witch wound. I talk about that a lot in my program. So any of you have done witch school or any of my courses, you know that that's a big part of it, is that oftentimes when we feel really powerful, we feel really good, or we feel really alive, really aligned, really in our pleasure and on purpose, we can have the witch wound rear its ugly head and make us feel like there's something wrong with us, or that we're too much, or that power is dangerous. And I certainly still had all kinds of those things. And even now, running a 7-figure business and an amazing team and like loving my life so much, I still have some of those things. So just know that they don't all just go away and snap your fingers and all of a sudden you've healed everything that you've ever wanted to heal. It doesn't happen like that. But I knew that who I was and who I was becoming was who I'm meant to be. And the confidence that I felt from that was truly, it was exuberant. And the way that I would exude it, the way that it would literally emanate out from me, people were touched by it. People were inspired, people were moved, they were motivated, people were really kind of like turned on, and not just like sexually, but like, whoa, that activates something in me, whether it's being triggered or being, again, inspired. But I loved who I was, and I loved where I was going, and I loved who I was becoming. And I really truly know that that is the key. That was the place where the energy shifted from feeling like a victim to this celibacy and to this aloneness into, I'm good. I'm fucking awesome. I'm the shit. I am so cool. I am literally, and for me personally, it depends on what you're doing and what you're proud of and what you value in your life. But I was like, I am paving a fucking trail, blazing a path that no one has walked before me. This is amazing. Like, I am living this pointy ass hat and a magical life and making Hogwarts changed from a fantasy into a reality. And I'm fucking obsessed with that shit. I am obsessed with this life that I'm leading. I am like, oh my God, this witch is so cool. I'm like just on a team meeting a second ago with my whole team, and we're all like going through the websites and all this stuff. And I'm just like looking at my website and I'm like, I fucking love her. She's so cool. This is so cool. I'm obsessed with this. This is amazing. And that's how I felt for the first time in my life, the year that I met my partner in 2019. I felt enlivened, I felt inspired, I felt activated, I felt grateful, I felt excited about what was to come. I knew that life was bringing me blessings and gifts because it just kept bestowing them on me. And I would not have reached that place if I had not given myself the time over those 3 years to get to know who I was and where I was meant to be going. And I think that that's a big problem that we have in the modern world. Is like, you get into these relationships and dating and you think that you're supposed to be a certain way, whether it's, a good girl or a bad boy. And you spend so much time and energy worrying about, again, like what that person has to say about you, or what they think, or how they're responding to you, or what they are or aren't giving to you. And it takes a lot of fucking energy. A lot. And so for me, it was really such a gift that my energy went to myself. It went to me, it went to my business, it went to my creations, it went to what I wanted to offer to the world, it went to my healing, it went to my growth. Now, everybody's situation with relationships is gonna be different. You're gonna have different programming, different patterning, different things that are important to you. Maybe sex is really just like fun and easy, and you are able to not have emotional ties with it. I'm not like that. That's impossible for me. And so I'm just too energetically sensitive. If anyone is in my field, in my body, in my space in that way, their energy is impacting me. I'm feeling them. I'm feeling the connection between us. And so I really recommend celibacy for people who feel like they want to get clear. If you want to get clear on your habitual patterns in relationship, you are always the common denominator in your relationships. People don't want to hear that, oh, well, like someone who mistreated you, that's your fault. I know that no one wants to hear that, but as someone who's been totally mistreated, I fucking stayed around for that shit, okay? I stayed. I got obsessed with someone that never was gonna be able to treat me the way that I wanted to be treated, and I stuck around. I did not leave. That is a disempowering action. That is a choice that I made, and I take responsibility for the ways that I was mistreated after the moment that I knew I should have left. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but I had a client many years ago who, she'd been put into the hospital by an abusive boyfriend. And when I was trying to work through it with her, she was like, but what the fuck? Like, I didn't do this to myself. I did not put myself in the hospital. She's like wearing a neck brace. And I just looked at her and I was like, my love, was there a red flag? Was there any moment that you knew you should have left and you didn't? And her face just dropped. And it all just sunk in, and she was like, oh my God. And that's how it often is in relationships for all of us. We're going to emulate our parents and our patterns and our programming. We're going to either respond to, which usually means like acting the opposite of, or model, which means acting the same as our parents and the way that we saw love and the way that we saw relationships being presented to us when we were children. Caregivers, grandparents, aunts and uncles, foster families, whoever it is that raised you when you were a child, you're going to either respond or react to that. And so for me, celibacy was a really important choice because I wanted to understand myself. I wanted to understand what was going on, why I had made those poor choices. Why had I chosen these people that weren't right for me? What was inside of my mind and my heart and my body that made me think that that was okay? That made me feel like that was a totally reasonable thing to have happen, and that like that was all I deserved, or I should just stick around or like date another person just like that right afterwards. And I wanted to understand. I wanted to do deep inquiry and really not just be aware and have the clarity, but then from that place, integrate the lessons and integrate the truths of the why and the how did I get there and what am I doing, and heal and transform and make new choices and do things differently and integrate those new habits and behaviors so that I was an embodied. This is like what it means to be a witch, and it all happened the same year for me. I want to embody that knowledge because embodied knowledge is wisdom. If it's just conceptual and you're like, oh yeah, well, I have this pattern from my parents because my dad was super critical, but you don't do anything about it and you don't change your behavior, which is what I'm still really working on 4 years into this relationship now. I'm really working on completely eradicating any of the ways that I still behave like my critical father. When I get upset, when I get frustrated, and I respond to my partner the way that my father used to respond to me. So, speaking of embodiment, so you're saying you haven't embodied it? It's a lifelong process, okay? But that was what my focus was. And so if you are seeking a transformation of your relationship patterns, not just to call in divine union. It will help with that, absolutely 100%. But if you want to change the way that you've been operating in relationships, the types of partners that you've been calling in up until this point, this work, staying, again, doesn't have to be like celibate. You don't have to do like 6 months, but staying in your own energy, staying contained, staying tight, staying committed to yourself, devoted to yourself. That's what I was doing. I dated myself. I fell in love with myself eventually by being in a relationship with myself where nobody else's bullshit was impacting me. And if it did, from friendships, community, other things, if it did, that was my responsibility. That's my opportunity to be in my sovereignty and my personal authority to say, oh, wow, okay, I'm triggered by this thing. I'm upset that someone, thinks that about me or doesn't want to hang out with me or whatever it is. Everything that happens when we're contained in our own energy and we know who we are, or we're striving to find out who we are, everything that happens is information. Y'all all know, like, everything is information, everything is divination. That is one of the pillars of my life. That's what my first book is all about, which is out January 30th. So IntuWitchin, if you haven't ordered it yet, make sure you do. I'll put that link below as well. Everything's information. Everything is guiding you. Everything is providing you with communication from the universe. And so if you are looking to manifest love, if you want to find divine love in your life, it is incredibly important to eradicate the ways that you're blocking love, that you're hindering love, that you're sabotaging love, that you're maybe disbelieving or mistrusting in love itself. And that was the work that I did. That was what I focused on in every single way, every single day. And it changed my life. And so I really encourage you to look at, there's a lot of like monastic lifestyles where celibacy is just a pillar of what you do. It's just part of the deal. You don't have sex. And I think that there's a very patriarchal, very religious way of looking at that like sex is bad, sex is dirty, sex is wrong. And for me, it was really more about, I want to have the kind of sex that is deeply connected, where I feel safe, where I know I can be all of myself, where I can be fully free and wild and self-expressed, and where I can be held by someone. And I don't like to have casual sex. That's just not really the way that I function. And so for me, this time was about getting to know who I wanted to be as a partner. Who do I want to be as a woman, as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a mission-driven witch in the world? Who do I want to be in relationship? What do I want to build with someone? And I just got so clear. Again, did I think that it was going to take 3 years to find that person? No. But by a certain point, I refused to settle. I was like, I'm not fucking settling. I'm not going to let anyone less than a king into my body. And I do not feel bad about that. And people really were mean about it. There's this one like beautiful babe that I know whose husband was very unattractive. And she just kept telling me like, you just can't, like, you have to give people a chance. Like, it's not all about the physical, da-da-da. I'm like, I know. They've since divorced. And I'm like, I know it's not about the physical, but it's about the feeling. Like, I want to look at my man and be like, oh, fuck yeah. Look at you. God damn, you look so good. Do I feel guilty about that?
No, not even a little tiny bit. Not even 0%.
I feel great about that. I'm a visual person. I've got like 10, 20 in both eyes. I got fucking eagle vision. I feel okay about wanting to desire my partner wholly. Not just physically, but with my heart and my soul and with what he's doing on the planet and with what we get to do together and the shared vision that we have. People thought that I should just like, oh, just find someone. Oh, he's nice. Oh, give him a chance. No. Now, in terms of manifestation, this can be tricky, right? Some of you have seen my other videos about manifestation and if your manifestation isn't working. And sometimes you do need to change. Even this home is a wonderful, perfect, beautiful, massive, gorgeous home for us, but the outside isn't exactly what I would want, nor the cats. There's no trees outside. It's like beautiful mountaintop, desert plants, but there's no trees. That's not ideal for me, but I could feel that something else was meant to happen in this home. And the craziest part is that when we had our housewarming party just this last weekend, it was so fucking incredible. There were literal superheroes, like some of the most impactful, powerful people on the planet here in our home. And I led an equinox ritual and 2 of our sisters led a sound bath. And we had this gorgeous little jam sesh with like huge musicians just like singing in our bedroom. And I was so grateful. And I was like, I fucking knew it was supposed to be this place. I knew it. So it's not about like, don't say yes to anything. It's about the feeling. I felt like this home was where we were meant to live. It doesn't have 100% of all the stuff. It doesn't even have some of my non-negotiables. Trees are one of my non-negotiables in a home. So we've got to move from home to partnership, but like, or the other way around. But if you meet someone that doesn't necessarily fit all of your pieces. Like Bear doesn't fit all of my pieces. He's not like, oh, I've checked off every single box and now like this is great and I'm gonna be in partnership. It's not like that, but it was a feeling. It was a feeling. I'm supposed to be with this person. And I did think it was gonna be a one-night stand. We set up this whole ceremony and it was so beautiful. At the end of the retreat, we spent like the whole retreat together just talking and there was no vibes at all. Well, for him, there were definitely vibes, but for me, there were no vibes. And I was just so closed off. I was such a fucking fortress against masculine energy by that point. I was like, no, like I'm contained. I am a castle. Like there's a moat and a dragon and dudes up in the turrets with bows and arrows, like thou shalt not pass, And eventually, at the end of that retreat, something shifted and I literally thought it was gonna be my only one-night stand. I actually left in the morning quite early without saying anything. I snuck right out. And by the end of that day, he was back at my house and we spent the next month just getting to know each other, not even being physical and intimate anymore, just like talking for 3, 4, 5 hours every day, every night, getting to know each other and really diving in with one another and seeing what we were interested in, what we were all about. And we had the most incredible conversations and it was a feeling. It was like, okay, I'm like getting goosebumps just talking about it. I'm gonna cry. There was something that made it all right, that it wasn't every single thing, that it wasn't 100%. It was like, this is the person that I'm meant to do this work with right now. This is the person that I'm meant to grow with, and I'm meant to become the next version of myself with. And maybe it'll be forever and maybe it won't. But I know that this is what's meant for me right now. I know that the way that this man will love me is going to be medicine for my spirit. And so that's the thing that I really most want to leave you with, is that you can create anything, partnership, magic, magical business, anything you desire. And one of the ways that I have found that it is easiest or most supportive to create those things and to manifest is by being really clear about what you're not doing and who you're not being and what you won't do and what you won't settle for, right? Like even seeing some of the things that happened, like Bear he had like a piercing, and he drank a hard kombucha one night at the retreat, and I was just like, oh my God, ew, he's drinking alcohol, like no, gross, like not interested, ugh, you know? And it turns out like he drinks alcohol like once every couple of months, you know? I just don't drink, so I was like,
Oh no, I would never be with a man who would drink.
you know? And so I could have seen that, oh, it's a hard kombucha on a weekend, on a retreat, the man works so much, is so committed to changing the world. He had one drink, like, okay, you know? And I could have seen that and written it off. You can really make a lot of excuses. You can make a lot of boundaries and lines in the sand that are like, nope, this isn't it. This is not right. I'm not doing this. I don't accept this. Whatever. But it's really up to you to determine whether that's fear and ego and wounding, or the voice of your true nature and your higher self being like, no, this is not the thing for me, because I know something better is coming, because I know there's something even more right for me. So if this is a path that you are thinking about, if just going celibate just for a few months, just to cleanse your energy, just to cleanse your field, just to like not be so caught up in someone else's energy. Some of my dear brothers, dear friends, they did a whole beautiful, like 6 months, 8 months, several different men that I know, no porn, no jerking off. I certainly did a lot of sex magic during my celibacy, a lot. There was a lot of masturbation manifestation happening for sure. But I know a lot of men who did no masturbation, no porn, no dating, no nothing, really. And they said to get out of the dick fog. That's what it was. Get out of the dick fog. Because I guess when you're a man, like your dick can just like fog your brain, you know? And so if this is something you're thinking about, if this is a practice that you feel like embarking upon, make sure that you're doing it because it's truly what's right for you, because you want to cleanse, you want to purify, you want to be really sure and clear about who you are and what you desire and where you're going and what you want your life to look like. And you know and trust yourself to do the work during that time, to dive into the patterns or the habits or the behaviors or the bullshit or the hard things and change. Because that's the most impactful part of being on your own in that way in celibacy, is that it will change you, because no one else is then changing you. No one else is then affecting your energy. It's only you. It's only how you choose to respond to even the normal things in your daily life that trigger you. And that was what was so powerful for me and so transformative for me. And so I know that there's a lot of people who want to know the full love story of me and Bear. So maybe I'll make another little video about that, because it is, you know, being in a conscious relationship is really hard. It's really hard. It's beautiful and it's amazing, but it's hard. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of growth and a lot of commitment and devotion. And that's what ultimately my celibacy was about, is like, I wanted to learn about devotion for myself and to the goddess. And every time I would say yes to someone who was not in alignment or who did not treat my body and my spirit the way that I wanted it to be treated, I felt like I was betraying myself, and I felt like I was abandoning myself and disappointing myself and going against what the goddess was teaching me in terms of learning prayer and ceremony and reverence of my body. And so I learned how to be in devotion to this vessel and to this holy expression of God. And it was the most beautiful, powerful time in my life. I studied so much. I learned, I grew so much. I became so financially abundant, abundant in every way. And it was the right choice for me. And now 4 years later, after that time ended, I am in this incredible partnership and witnessing what happened here, what we created here just this last weekend together with our community and in this home. It was almost like a culmination, like those 7 years total, 3 years of celibacy and now 4 years together with Bear, like a cycle. Oh, wow, this is something new. This is something different. This is what we created this for, was this night right here, and what will be birthed from this night forward. So I really encourage and invite all of you, again, if you are interested in manifesting love and you want to learn more about my practices, the Love Spell is a very powerful collection of rituals that I did on a daily basis. It's a lot of the inquiry, a lot of the questions that I was asking myself. What is going on? What am I thinking, doing? Why am I operating and behaving like this? And really a beautiful healing practice. There's a cord cutting ritual and a healing, sensual self-love and self-touch ritual that is something that I did constantly all the time and can really help you remove the blocks to receiving love and also heal the wounds within you that help you really feel capable of and empowered to give love and to be an emanation of love. So the Love Spell link is down below. And again, thank you all so much for joining me here on Your Most Magical Life and for being patient, as I have not been on YouTube in so long. It's really such a gift to be able to share these pieces and things with you. And it is my greatest honor and pleasure to be able to be living this life and knowing that just me doing what I'm doing is creating a positive ripple on this planet. So please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I am Mia Magik, and as always, it is my deepest honor to welcome you to Your Most Magical Life.